Our next venture was a camping trip. It happened to be my first time going on one, and given what we saw before that, I didn't exactly have a good feeling about this. Carl, no offense, but this sounds like a terrible idea. I don't knock it till you try it, Pete. It'll be fun. You'll see. Besides, they'll probably be sending out more agents. There aren't many routes that we can take from here, which will make it easier for them to find us. Therefore, I say we do this so that way they'll pass us by. Do you really think that'll work? Well, when they realize what happened to their agents, they're going to pull out the big guns to try and find us. I think this is our best bet. I guess. I wish they'd just give up. I mean, we can't be worth going through all this trouble, can we? They probably didn't want us talking and threatening the control they have over the town. Maybe. What do you think of all this, Nick? He groggily replied, partially stirring from his sleep. Yeah, camping. Sure, let's do it. He fell back asleep, snoring. Well, that settles that, Carl said. Now we have to get some supplies. Needless to say, I wasn't feeling confident about all this, but that as it may be, I couldn't think of any counterpoints to Carl's argument. We stopped and got some food and supplies for the trip. Then we pulled deep into the woods. This looks like a good spot, Carl told us. We stopped at an open part of the forest containing a nice view of the lake. Since I couldn't help set things up, the task fell upon Carl and Nick. Meanwhile, I had the job of fishing. I've only been fishing 4 times prior to that, with varying success. I know patience is key, but sometimes the damn things just won't bite. I didn't have much else to do, so I was content to play on my GBA for a while, waiting for the line to move. Carl bought some quad folding chairs while shopping, and I grabbed one to set up near the lake. Having to carry all of it, along with the fishing supplies and my Game Boy, was a pain in the ass. Despite that, I managed to get everything over there without dropping any of it. Once setting things up was done, I plopped down in the chair and then after some preparation, cast my fishing line into the lake. All there was left to do after that was wait while playing some games. I hadn't tested it since the incident. Luckily, it seemed to be working fine. Have you caught anything yet? Nick asked, coming up beside me with his fishing rod. It hasn't even been 10 minutes. Have you guys finished setting up already? Yeah. Wait, really? Yeah. That fast? Have you been camping before? I have. I was in the Scouts when I was younger. I never figured you for the type. My parents forced me into it when I was younger. I would have rather spent my summers playing video games, but instead, I had to do that. I've lost count of the number of wasp stings I got during my time in the Scouts. Still, it has helped us out here, so I guess it was good for something after all. He set up his fishing rod with bait and cast it out. What about you? He asked me. Camping? Nah, I was never really the type. I've been hiking a few times, though, outside of town, obviously. What's Carl up to? Getting firewood. What do you think we'll be dealing with this time? Beats me. Weddings, maybe? Hopefully the trees don't pull some Evil Dead shit. If they do, fire spreads fast. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. By the way, have you ever used a crossbow before? We purchased 3 among our supplies. The store had a sale going on. If someone were to get 2, they could get the 3rd one half off. Not being one to pass up a good sale, Carl bought them along with a fuck ton of arrows. Yeah, my dad and Carl showed me how to use one. Actually, that reminds me. Where are your parents? Do they just live outside of the town? It's kind of a long story. Before Nick could ask me to elaborate, our fishing lines moved. The next half hour after that, we had quite the streak of luck in catching catfish, which we put in a cooler. Carl returned, carrying a bundle of wood. Good job, guys. Now, while I debone the fish, do me a favor and hang up the charms we got. The ones we hung up were dream catchers. We also got some bracelets and necklaces containing various gemstones that supposedly were supposed to bring us good luck. Having been through our previous experiences, we hoped these things would help us. All right, Pete, the fish have been deboned, Carl said. Can you handle the rest? I can do the prep. I just need you guys to handle the fire. While they took care of it, I got ready to make a fish pizza for the three of us. Now, I know that a lot of you people shudder at the thought of fish on pizza. However, I say don't knock it till you try it. Besides, there's a wrong and right way to do things. The wrong way for this would be to just throw big chunks onto the pizza. The right way is to make sure it's finely diced. Once the dough was thinned out enough, I began topping the pizza. I spread the sauce on and then put on the spices, basil, garlic, and oregano. Then, after topping it with cheese, I put on the fish along with some mushrooms and jalapenos. Those reading this may be wondering, how do you cook pizza on a camping trip? The answer to that is quite simple. A thoroughly oiled iron skillet with a lid. After lining it with parchment paper, I put the pizza in, and Carl put it over the fire by using a makeshift grill. All that was left to do was to wait. Despite the ingredients not being fresh, it still came out pretty good. For my first time camping, I actually found it to be enjoyable, at least for the first 2 nights. Day 3 is where things took an unexpected turn. Several loud gunshots woke me from sleep. Guys, I said, sitting up. We heard it too, Carl replied, having been woken up as well as Nick. I thought we were supposed to be the only ones out here, Nick said, looking at him. So did I. This might complicate things. I wasn't expecting any other campers, let alone hunters. Do you think what happens to us can affect other people? I asked Carl. I'm not sure. Maybe we should go talk with them. Nick, can you come with me? Sure thing. Pete, stay here and keep watch. Got it. While they went to go see the hunters, I played some Pokemon Fire Red on a Nuzlocke challenge. For those unfamiliar with Nuzlocks, check Bulbapedia. Anyway, in the middle of grinding, the sound of Carl yelling reached me. What the fuck is your problem? He roared. I couldn't hear anything else from them after that. Then someone else yelled, We ain't moving. Now get out of here. You know what? Fuck you both. I hope you dumb shits get mauled by a grizzly bear. Carl screamed at them. Carl and Nick returned shortly later with scratches under their eyes. A large coffee stain was on the former's shirt, and he looked really pissed off. I take it didn't go well? I said to him. You'd be right there, Pete, he replied irritably. What happened exactly? Nick, you tell him. I need to change. Carl walked off, and Nick proceeded to explain how the conversation went with him. Carl tried approaching them to inform them that they should move. However, when he did, one of them screamed at him, yelling that it was their spot and they caused a deer to escape. What followed was Carl getting coffee splashed and a fistfight that lasted for about 2 minutes. They weren't getting ready to shoot anything. They were just trying to set things up. Anyway, it's a good thing that we got out of there when we did. I'm pretty sure Carl and them were on the verge of drawing their guns. Sounds rough. I've had a gun drawn on me before, back at Formaggio's. It's not much fun, I can tell you that anyway. What do you suppose we should do? If Carl's right, we're gonna see some weird shit tonight. I'm not sure. We could pack everything in the car and drive off if we see something. Then again, if we leave too early, we might risk running into some agents. We'll have to talk to Carl about it. He returned wearing a different shirt. We informed him of our conversation and asked what he thought the best course of action would be for us to do. Sorry, but we'll have to stay here. They'll still be in the area, even tomorrow, but we can pre-pack most of our things. Well, I said, grabbing a soda from the cooler, then opening and raising it. Here's to hoping we don't get murdered tonight. The plan was for one of us to stay up and keep watch and alert the others if we noticed anything off. I volunteered to be the one to stay up, since late nights are something I'm accustomed to. The previous night, I'd been sleeping in a hammock. Now, I kept watch, sitting in one of the chairs. Carl instructed me to keep the fire going, which I did by periodically putting in more kindling. I passed the time by playing some more Fire Red. While doing so, a faint noise reached my ears. I paused, trying to listen closer. I reasoned that it could simply be a deer munching on vegetation. Then I thought if that were the case, those hunters would be after it, with how determined they seemed to be. If that were the case, I'd be hearing more gunshots. Getting a worrying feeling, I closed my SP, then grabbed my crossbow along with some bolts. The noise grew steadily louder. "Guys," I said, waking up Carl and Nick. They rubbed their eyes, then sat up when they noticed it too. Suddenly it stopped, and there was silence. I know what I'm about to say is cliché, however, it really did feel too quiet, and that meant a predator was nearby. Knowing this, they also got their crossbows ready. Nobody said anything for the next few moments. We looked for any odd movement within the woods. The tension was so thick, we could practically cut it with a knife. Then, what sounded like a large animal belching echoed throughout the forest. Something shot out over the trees as if it were catapulted. "The hell is that?" Nick asked, squinting as it came toward us. It landed with a heavy thud right at my feet. My mind didn't register what I was seeing at first. Then, with a chilling realization, I recognized what I was seeing was a severed head. The man whom it belonged to wore a terrified expression on his face. "Oh shit," I yelled, shoving it away with my foot and sending it rolling towards Nick. "Don't kick it towards me," he said, scooting away from it and getting to his feet. "Wait a sec. This is one of the hunters. What could have done this to him?" That question was answered by a ground-shaking rumbling. "I don't like where this is going," I said, and yelled out as my chair was tipping over. Things were about to go from Jesus Christ to what the fuck. Trees bent, snapping under the weight of the thing coming toward us. Each vibration rattled inside me, making my already quickly beating heart pump even faster. What came into view was something that, for convenience sake, I'm going to refer to as the toad. Although it was indeed shaped like one, this thing had several distinctive features. The first, and most obvious, was its size, which, even without its other features, would have been enough to make most people shit themselves. This thing was so massive that the trees were only slightly taller than it. The toad was colored black, making it blend in with the shadows. I found its eyes and mouth to be the most disturbing features of it. The eyes were milky white, reminiscent of those belonging to a long-drowned corpse. In its mouth were rows of straight white teeth. They seemed almost too big for the toad, giving it a grinning appearance. Its fat purple tongue poked out, nearly touching the ground, and saliva dripped from it that sizzled upon hitting the ground. We weren't sure what to do at that moment. Our charms weren't working at all on this thing, and its skin looked too thick for our arrows to be effective. "Should we try and make a break for it?" Nick asked. We nodded and got ready to run when we noticed the car was on its side. "Fuck," I said,